What is the funniest thing you overheard from another player's mic while playing a game online? My husband goes around singing, "You have food, you have water, what the fuck is your problem?" Our goofy Maine Coon kitty is a complete chowhound, but loves when my husband sings to him. So when my husband sings this, the kitty chimes in with him. Well, one night I'm doing a WoW raid, and I was explaining a strat, when my husband starts singing this in the kitchen. He was loud enough that everyone on the mic heard it, and burst out laughing. Shortly after that, someone asked the mage to drop a table and a feast, so he responded by saying, "You have food and water, what the fuck is your problem?" Which lead to everyone bursting out in laughter again. The only online game I've ever played is Fortnite, and I only started playing that because my little nephew wanted me to duo with him as he has nobody else to play with regularly. I was bad though, so I started playing squad fill on my own to try and improve, so I could actually help my nephew when we play. Early hours of one morning I got paired up with a couple of guys who sounded like they were talking Arabic. So I just stayed quiet, then a young kid joined, maybe about 14 or so, and started trying to talk to the other two. He went through whole list of languages, asking them if they spoke English, Spanish, Italian, German, and the two guys said no each time. Finally the kid asked them if they spoke French, and one of them said yes. The kid spoke a few sentences in French, and after a slight pause one of the guys replied with a baguette. I laughed. The kid left. One of the guys said AWW the weekend left. Turns out they were both Scottish. It was funny, but it didn't half make me feel kind of dumb. Listen to this young kid who speaks all these languages and me barely know English. I'm too late and this will get buried. But no game will drag you out of party chat and into game chat like Sea of Thieves. One night we had a few ships alliance up over a few hours, very chill and having a good time, until we get some dumb middle schooler in the chat. He keeps us chill for all of maybe 10 minutes before he drops, "Hey, how old do you guys think I am?" I said, "Young enough to ask that question," which got a lot of laughs. He then told us he was 14, used a racial slur, and told us he hated gay people over the course of the next few minutes. Nobody kicked or blocked him. Instead we all talked about how glad we were that we didn't have online chat when we were his age, because everyone is a faking idiot when they're 14, and we also would have said and done stupid shit thinking we were cool, but actually telling everyone that we are immature and close-minded and really just faking dumb. We all shared anecdotes about stupid things we said or believed as teenagers. He got really quiet and then got very polite. We ended up playing with him for several hours. Then at the end somebody remarked that they didn't realize you can't change your character after creation and they wished they had picked a different one, to which this girl shouts, "You're telling me I'm stuck playing as this fattest grandma?" And sure enough, her character was indeed a fattest grandma. Sea of Thieves. So many laughs with strangers. Okay, finally I can share this with the world. When I was a teenager, my friends and I were playing Halo 3 on Sparks Live. One friend, we'll call him Jay, decided he needed to eat. He politely informed us that he was going to get some food. We say alright, that's cool, and we hear him take off the headset, but not mute it. We hear the headset hit the desk, then we hear him yell, "Mum, put a sausage roll in the microwave." Then he puts the headset back on and declares he's back. We were all pissing ourselves laughing. We all drifted apart as the years went on, but Jay is still one of my best friends, and I'll never let him live it down. If you're reading this, dude, you know who I am, and you're going to hear about it till the end of time. Also hurry up and pick up your Christmas gift, dude. It's been in my cupboard for like 2 weeks now. I was trying out VR for the first time by playing some Bridge Crew. I was playing as captain at the time and we were in between missions in the briefing room. One of the players cuts in with a question. "Hey captain, you mind if I do a quick bump before the next game?" Sure," I said, not totally understanding what he meant. He must have taken his headset off at this point, because his character's head snapped to the side, so his face was buried in his armpit, followed by a single long, forceful, sustained snort coming through over his mic. At this point we are all looking at each other and gesturing to him, as if to say, "Wait, is he, right now?" Then a moment later he pops back up and hoarsely says, "Okay captain, I'm good to go." TLDR, the helmsman of my virtual enterprise took a break to go snort some coke out of his armpit. I was playing on a Counter-Strike Source deathmatch server a few years ago, and a very deep voice random joined the game and hit us with something along these lines. Random, hello. Anyone got a mic? Hello. I said, anybody got a mic? Player 1, hey man, what's up? Random, oh, nothing much man. I was just wondering if anyone here wanted to join my clan. Does anybody wanna join my clan? Player 2, what's your clan? Random, okay, so, if you look next to my name, yeah, see that I'm part of a group called Tang? Yeah, so, the clan is called Tang, and basically, our only membership requirement is that you have to change your profile pic to a photo of an orangutan doing some really nasty sexual shit. Like, for instance, you'll see that my photo is of an orangutan cheating on another orangutan. My buddy, who is also in the clan, set his to an orangutan blowing another orangutan. But, yeah, that's about it though. Other than that, we are just a couple of guys who get together to play Counter-Strike sometimes. You interested? Player 2, no thanks man, I'm good. This will get buried, but back in college we were all playing some LAN game together. I believe it was Command and Conquer. Well, my one friend had a bad family life. Family separated, sister is into drugs, mom is into drugs and a dominatrix. Another story. He has to take a phone call he has been waiting for to talk to his dad. Except he forgets to turn off his mic. We got to hear about how he is basically supporting his mom and sister with his school loan / extra money from summer jobs. That his sister has herpes and I think he said hep C, and he was buying her meds every month. That his mom is spending her disability check for her and her sister to get high while he is paying. Just basically venting all of his dirty laundry to his dad like one might do. Except his mic was on. We lived in apartment style dorms. I had a room I shared with one of the other guys playing on the LAN, and this guy's room was across the living room from us. I walked into his room and he was kinda like, what the fuck bro? This is a private call, and I just walked over to his PC and pulled out his mic cord. His face definitely showed that he knew we heard some of that convo. Yet just like brothers, none of us ever discussed it, brought it up, or made fun of him about it. I know that's weird to have to say, but I guess as immature college guys you tend to be harsh on your friends. Especially with the mom and sister jokes. Except here we knew this was some shit you don't fuck. In fact, I don't think we ever talked about it past that day. We all just kinda knew that you don't do that. Oh, I hope I'm not late for this, but I have an awesome one. But some context, I have been gaming with the same clan / friends for almost a decade now, so we are all pretty close and make really crude jokes on a regular basis. The clan leader we will call Blake likes to regularly talk shit with another guy we will call Steve. Blake has told us that he keeps an urn of his grandmother's ashes on his mantle. So one night they are talking their friendly shit like always, and Steve says to Blake, "Motherfucker, I will come to your house and stick my dick in your grandma's ashes." The other 5 or so of us in Ventrilo proceed to laugh our asses off, including Blake. But about a minute later we hear Steve's wife stomp into the room and start screaming at him, "I don't want to hear shit about you sticking your dick in someone's ashes. There are children in this house." So on and so forth. We hear her tearing his as a new one for a couple's minutes before he remembers to mute his mic. We regularly bring this up now. Funniest shit ever. Edit. Words. I used to play Tekken online a lot, and I used to be pretty damn good. One night I was online, and I was playing against someone who, by the voice, I judged to be a child. Being merciful, I didn't destroy him outright. I gave him chances to get a strike in and telegraphed my moves so he could feel like he was actually in the fight. In the background I could hear a more adult voice giving encouragement to the child and denouncing me as a punk. After the first round, which I won, the adult took the controller over. He came at me strong, and I welcomed the intensity as I played a character more attuned to punishment. I started kicking his ass since he was clearly at least not a child, maybe a teenager with a deep voice, and he started getting pissed. I won the second round, which meant if I won one more round I win the match. However, I remember how much I looked up to my older brother when I was little and just started gaming. He was my savior, and I'd always call on him to get me through a boss fight or a rough spot. I didn't feel good about smashing this guy again and crushing the kid's possible adulation for this guy, so I hatched a plan. I gave the guy a good challenge, but I threw the round, and the next one. I could hear his confidence building and the excitement in the other room. Imagine the comeback. Some of the names this guy was calling me lol. You guys can imagine some of the oh yeah, take that, or crap, no going on from his end. Now we were tied 2-2, and this final round was for all the marbles. Again, I made it a challenge. I tried to drag every last second out of the round and let us both get down to nearly dead with a few seconds remaining. Then I remembered it was a ranked match and I wasn't about to upset my stats, so I killed him. But I could hear the bonding over the intense moment, so despite losing I think I gave them both a good fight to remember and chance for the older to teach the younger about graciously losing a good fight. My buddy Joe and I were playing Halo one night way back when. We are older and just loved to mess with the kids that played. So we had a game with this little kid who was talking crap, but little kid stuff. We realize it's only the three of us mate, so Joe sends me a text to talk quietly. I do. So we move the mix away from our faces and barely wipe her. Kid apparently turns up his TV because his mom comes in twice telling him to turn it down, the second time not as pleasant as the first. At the end of the game Joe puts on a falsetto voice and yells into the mic, "Fuck you, you faking piece of shit, I'll fuck you in the ass." I chuckle, but about 30 seconds the kid starts screaming, "No way, it wasn't me, it was someone on the game, I swear." Then he was gone. Just picture his mom running in and yanking the power cord. I understand I'm late to the party and this will likely get buried, but here goes nothing. Back in middle school my friends and I would religiously play Gears of War after school on Xbox Live. Matchmaking, custom games, 1v1s, you name it. After the game came out, and we had played for a few months, we ended up adding a few people that we enjoyed playing with, so we could always fill our custom game slots if not enough of our rival friends were on. Before long we ran into a fellow named Ambrozak, a big nig 1432, not sure on the exact numbers, but that was his gamer tag to some extent. We had befriended Big, and he would play with us often. We thought he was really cool, good at the game, and was downright hilarious. A few months of playing with Big went by just fine, until one day after school we were playing a Warzone match on Clock Tower. We had won a round and the next round is beginning and all of a sudden we hear Big say something along the lines of, "I'm in trouble now y'all. The pigs is here, they coming for me. I got to go y'all, best of luck." Immediately Big turned off his Xbox, and we never played with, talked to, or saw Big log on Xbox again. Legend has it the pigs did indeed get him, but for all we know he cold just been ditching us to play with some of his friends. Regardless, Big has been a good memory amongst my friends for many years. If you're still out there Big, we miss you man. Was on Xbox Live, back when MW2 was new. Found a free-for-all match with some cool and chill people and we were having a great time, but one of them had to go, and a faking obnoxious little brat replaced him. Every time this kid died, he'd scream and call people the F word. No fuck, the other F word. The slur that can't be typed due to faking stupid censors, and scream and swear. This kid could put sailors to shame. I finally got sick of his shit, so I switched to the class I used to piss people like him off. And I won the next match with a glorious RPG headshot square on the head. Holy fuck, ein shit. He exploded. He was screaming so loudly at the top of his lungs that the faking speaker in my XBL headset was crackling. He was threatening to murder me and other things. Finally, after about maybe 2 or 3 literal minutes of this, the kid goes dead. Faking. Silent. And suddenly there's another voice in the background. It's the kid's dad. His voice slowly gets louder as he gets closer, and he's scolding the kid, like, "I taught you better than this. How dare you speak like that? You know you're not supposed to talk to other people like that." And the kid is there like, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." And then all of a sudden, "No, Dad. No, I'm sorry." The headset comes off, and a loud thump is heard. The headset falling to the floor. Now the kid is screaming, "No, Dad. Stop. No. Ow. Ow. You're hurting me, while you can hear the father yelling you were raised better than this. You know those words aren't to be said. All the while the kid is screaming no. Ow. Stop. And howling up a storm. Instigated a kid into getting beat by his dad. This went on for maybe 1 or 2 minutes before stopping, and the dad loudly proclaimed you're grounded until you're 20, while the kid is sobbing in the background, followed by the kid disconnecting. Funniest part about all this is that, while this is going on, not a single person in the lobby, we all had mics and all were talking, did anything. We just sat there listening. Finally, after the kid disconnected, there was silence for another 30 seconds or so before a guy goes, "Dude, you got a kid beat." And we all laughed awkwardly. I was playing Rocket League with my brother and we are just chatting, and then I hear his girlfriend's voice in the background. "Girl, there's a bat in the house, brother." "What? What are you talking about?" "Girl, there's a bat. You have to get it out." "Brother, what the fuck?" The headset gets dropped on the floor. The voice is farther away, but I can still hear what's going on at this point. "Girl, you have to kill it, or get it out of here or something, it's dangerous." "Brother, yeah, I know we could get a disease if it bites us." Boom 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 boom. "Brother, I think it's dead now." A door opens, and then shuts. Then he picks the headset back up after a minute or so. "Brother, you wouldn't believe what just happened." Playing Destiny 1 a little, while after it came out, loving it, so I decide I want to join a clan. Couple weeks into meeting the other members going on plenty raid, decide to take on a harder one course. We all got our light levels pretty high and work pretty well as a team, so middle of the final boss room through one teammate's mic I hear the sound of sexual moaning. This particular teammate is a female, so me being the high school boy I'm reveling it and I go full quiet to not disturb and let it last as long as humanly possible. The moaning continues, and she keeps dying. We revive and continue the battle hall while hearing copious amounts of moans. Oh my gods and facts. We are all loving it all up until the boss is on its last sliver of health and hear another girl's voice saying, "Babe, I think it's time. Spew your goo, my dude." At this point every one of us erupts into laughter and we hear her controller drop and a muffled "holy fuck." The mic's been on the entire time. They heard it all, "Fuck fuck fuck," which at this point another clan member decides to chime in with, "I think we've heard you say fuck enough times today." You can hear her embarrassment through the mic when she retorts "fuck off, microbin," as her favorite insult for when we were getting destroyed. Bonus: after a year of playing with this clan we found out we all lived in California, so we decided to meet up in person and have lunch. We all got to meet each other, and we even got to meet her girlfriend, who was still the "spew your goo girl" as we referred to her. I have 2 stories. One time I was playing competitive Overwatch, and I don't remember our team exactly, other than I believe it had one healer, Lucio, along with Zarya and Winston. We were attacking on King's Row, and the Winston started getting pissed off and told me to switch after I was killed once as Genji. But throughout the entire game I managed a gold medal, and so I told him I'm doing fine, and I had only died once, but if I continued to die constantly, I would switch. But I never was able to say that, because I was interrupted by la 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 la. This dude sounded like he was 30, and he was squealing like a little kid, until he eventually left. My second story is, when I was playing Sea of Thieves, I joined a galleon. And if you didn't know, galleons hold 4 players total. The other people in my group quickly introduced themselves. One guy sounded like he was in his 40s, another was silent, but then, "Can you hear me?" This little kid sounded like he was 5, but at all times, screamed into the microphone and yelled over everyone else. But he was just so funny to listen to, like hearing "I need a banana, now I need one more, another." And at one point the guy in his 40s just muted the kid and continued trying to complete the skull fort, and afterwards, only then did we realize the kid raised the anchor and took our galleon. I'm probably responsible for an odd one. I was playing No Man's Sky, doing one of those missions where you have to go to a planet with a load of other players and dig up cores/farm whatever. I could hear some guy obviously doing a Twitch or some other live stream and a few others chatting away. I however have no mic plugged in. The missus shouts up the stairs that she is going to the butcher's and do I want some burgers. I equally loudly respond, yeah, get the chili jam ones. They were pretty good. Suddenly the words chili jam ones appear on my screen in massive letters and people start repeating what I said over and over. I'm in equal parts terrified and baffled until my gaze falls to my Oculus Rift sitting innocently in the corner of my desk. Surely not, I think, but quickly tab out into control panel and sure enough, Mick is constantly live. This was during a raid in Destiny with a regular of mine. He was watching his 10-year-old nephew that night. All's going well, just got done with the platforming making our way to the War Priest, when he says to his nephew, "Hey man, stop faking master baiting." Later on in that same raid we had to pull a random for Oryx, because someone dropped out. All was going good until dude starts arguing with his girlfriend over the mic, which is always super awkward for me. They go back and forth and it intensifies. He calls her a beach and she goes, "Bitch. Who you calling beach beach? You don't pay for shit. That's my system. That's my TV. This my house. All you pay for is Netflix. Who you think you calling B?" Simultaneously leaves the game and chat party. I don't think we even finished that raid. Between work, family life, and fact most of my friends are stationed all over the place, I didn't get a whole lot of gaming time in. So it's a little after midnight, and I'm camped out in front of the TV playing a random team-based shooter with a group of buddies. It's one of those nights where the objective is less important than messing with each other. You know, the kind of night where you drop artillery on guys trying to fix the bridge, plant mines in front of health stations, or shoot the snipers with rockets just for giggles. We are having a great time showing off how flexible the F word can be with its many uses. At some point there's a lull in the banter and that's the moment my 3-year-old comes into the room doing her best mommy impression. Scowl on face, fist on hip, finger wagging, "If you don't stop I'm gonna wash your caca mouth out with soap." Of course all my friends heard her, and of course they still to this day laugh and refer to me as Cacamouth. Oh, this one I have a good answer to. A few years ago some friends and I were completing the Revelations Easter egg in Black Ops 3. We had a random in our team, but things were going surprisingly well. We were pretty close to completing it when the random stopped communicating and his character stopped moving around. Shortly afterwards you could hear a slapping sound and a woman moaning in the background. All of these sounds were coming from the random's mic. So we carried on with our game, but we got to a point where all 4 players needed to interact with something, so we called out to him a few times. He finally jumps on his mic, and while he's noticeably out of breath, begins to communicate with us. He did his part and shortly afterwards the same thing happened again. The slapping sounds and moaning were back along with his character ceasing from moving around. We all found this hilarious, but we are determined to complete the Easter egg, so we just rolled with it. Not before too long we completed the quest and everyone was happy. The dude could have been laying down some pipe or watching Born in the background. I have no idea, but it was nasty and somewhat hilarious. My boyfriend and I played Destiny 2 with a team leader from our workplace for a brief time. We all played the game together and were raid ready, so the team leader, TL from here on out, invited us to raid with his clan. It was the first raid that had just dropped, and one of the people we were running it with wasn't exactly getting it, so it took up a good chunk of our afternoon and people were getting a little frustrated repeating it over and over, and by how long it was taking. One of these people was the TL's fiancé. We were starting to wrap it up for the afternoon and we were all just chatting about the raid and organizing another run when my TL said he'd BRB and we heard him put his controller and mic down. We all carried on chatting away even though we overheard him talking to his fiancé. No one really wanted to eavesdrop until we heard his side of the conversation/argument. His fiancé was quite unhappy at how long it had taken and was really chewing him out for it. We couldn't hear her side, but we could hear his responses to it. He was apologizing for making her wait and offered what we'll call a motion of peace by offering her to take her to McDonald's, an offer I well accepted. She wasn't happy with this and further complained. We all sat in silent stifling laughter as we heard the TL try to win a losing battle. It was very much a small lover's tiff, but when you're sat there hearing one side of it, it sounded absolutely hilarious at the time, and we were all laughing at his expense. It was equally awkward considering he was a TL. He eventually came back, and I'm not sure if we heard, but we all said our goodbyes and hopped off chat. My boyfriend and I were worried work would be awkward the next day, but nothing was said. The whole situation was hilariously awkward, and the TL was a great guy. I'm sure if he had known he would found it hilarious as well. My boyfriend still has him added on PSN, but they don't play much together anymore. And TL is now married to Fiancé. So it all worked out in the end. Okay, I have a friend that I play with often on Destiny 2. He is hilarious and a super chill guy. There have been so many situations that have made me laugh. Some of his best, he has a bunch of pets, specifically foster kittens. Over the mic he realized one of them pooped on his foot and screamed the cat did it again. Get the scooper. He proceeds to get up and say sheet. I kicked the cat by accident. Light kick. His sister in the back says you said sheet. We all start laughing as we are preparing for a raid. We were in the middle of the boss fight for Leviathan. His phone rings. Mind you, first time I've heard his ringtone. It's a person with a Russian accent like our Naja pranks. Search him up if ya don't know, saying pick up your phone. Your mother is calling. He proceeds to tell it his mom you are in the room next to me. Literally knock on my door, and no we don't have any Jolly Ranchers left. The double whammy hit me hard. The best for last. He is a big dude, plays football and has a brother, just as big but overweight. The brother is about 5 years older than my friend. His brother always has him do remedial tasks for him like help him with missions. One time, we were preparing to finish a Spire of Stars and his brother begins pestering him to help him with a raid of his own. You need 6 people for a raid. He wanted to 2-man it. He spends the next 10 mind explaining that raids don't work like that. His brother tells him to stop being interred and bring people from our current raid to help him. My friend explains that he can't do that as it's late and we've been doing our raid for over 2 hours. Quick fact, the brother uses his laptop to play the game while he plays on the computer. The brother is now pissed and proceeds to drop his laptop. This pissed him off and all you hear is you chunky pretentious cunt. Punch kick. Full on fight ensues and we could quietly hear the brother apologize and leave. My friend comes back as happy as can be and says alright, what did I miss? Person 1 had been talking to us when we hear a door slamming into wall. The following conversation was heard by all. Person 1, why are you in my room? Person 2, who is the strange guy at front door? Person 1, why aren't you wearing pants? Person 2, are you on Skype? Person 1, why are you stripping? Person 2, you don't have that on video do you? Person 1, only with boyfriend. Person 2, where are your clothes? Person 1, in my closet. Why are you in my room stripping? Person 2, who is at the front door with room at 3. Person 1, out. Person 2, but strange dude. Person 3 faintly in background. He was a poor pizza guy you just traumatized. For fact's sake at least put underwear on before leaving your room. Person 1 and 2 at exactly same time. You got a pizza? Raid was over as no one could breathe any longer. And we also learned that person 1 and her boyfriend were nude skyping during raids. Back when I ran a WoW guild, just after Burning Crusade launched, heard in the background. Cracked everyone up, but in retrospect not funny. Main tank, and was waiting for him to get back, and we hear this exchange. Female, F, male, M, F. It's just a video game. It's not real. M, they are real people. They are depending on me. F, louder, I need you. And I'm right here. M, puts on headset. I mute everyone else, but I told you, on Thursdays I spend time with my guild. They are my friends and need me. F, so you are choosing a game over me. M, please come on F, don't do this to me. They are all waiting for me. F, that's it, I'm out. Have fun faking your virtual women door slam. Everything gets real quiet. Our guild mother healer goes M. If you wanna tap that ever again, leave now, apologize, and focus on her. M logged off, quit the guild later that night. When I was 16 I was probably the luckiest kid ever. In Britain this was legal by the way, so no FBI jokes. My girlfriend, let's call her F, used to come to my house semi-frequently for whatever she felt like. Her school was 20 minutes on foot from my house, give or take. I played WoW, a raider, a main tank no less. Anyway, I was talking a boss. That was a very long fight. Its name is Lady Vashj. As a main tank I talked a shit ton, so I had open mic. F lets herself in, because Jay didn't hear the door. She'd been at school later than usual, so Jay wasn't really expecting it. She came into my room. I said, hey, give me a moment. Boss. She sorta understood the game but not entirely, and only understood TeamSpeak anecdotally. So she starts going down on me right as we start phase 2. No way in hell I'm going to stop her. I'm going to encourage her, obviously. Oh, hey baby, yeah, oof. I love it when you do that, etc. TeamSpeak was dead silent. Hey guys, can I get help on the next ad? Gamer name, you know we can hear you right. Yeah sure, how else would I tank? The thought dawns on me, oh shit. Mute smic. Needless to say I use push to talk now, and the hilarity that ensued was amazing. We didn't kill Vashj that time, and I probably owe F a massive apology for forgetting that her gesture would be broadcast to 24 other people, some of whom had sorta met her on voice once or twice. Not overhead, but here's a couple funny experiences I've had playing Fortnite. Another player and I were having a conversation as we were waiting for our squad to fill up. A kid joins us, and he's being really annoying, asking if we can hear him. After saying yes a couple times and him still being obnoxious and asking if we can hear him, out of nowhere I just go, no, we can't hear you, but we can see you. You could hear a pin drop. The other player and I burst out laughing. It was awesome. Think he disconnected. Same player mentioned above and I were playing squads, and all of a sudden he yells, on me, on me. Me trying to be the next ninja responds, what's your location, expecting him to say north or southwest or something technical. But he just cries out in funniest tone ever, behind me. I see him out the corner of my eye running for dear life. The entire squad laughed so hard for the entire game. What made it even better was, the guy had the thickest Spanish accent. Not funny at all. I was playing with this really sweet 10 to 13 year old girl, and all of a sudden, I hear her mom yelling, asking who she was talking to. She says she was playing with a girl, true, and the mom kinda calms down. But then she starts calling the girl names like ho, and I was lost for words. The girl kept her cool the entire time like it was another day for her. She just kept saying, sorry mom, go to bed. Like her mom was drunk or something, and she had to comfort her. This happened like 2 more times, and I was almost positive her mom was abusive. Haven't played with her in a while, but I hope she's okay. Ooh, I actually have something for this. So back when I was still in school and Modern Warfare 2 was still all the rage at the time, I was playing with a buddy of mine I'll refer to as Jay. So Jay and I were playing one of those game modes where it was a 1 life per round sort. I don't remember exactly which it was. We were 2v2 against these other players, late in the game, and Jay goes down. I decide to have a laugh, and I run off to the corner of the map and start shooting the main theme to the Super Mario Bros. Games, knowing full well that the other 2 guys are going to immediately find me. Sure enough, they rush over to the corner of the map where I'm just blasting away in the sky singing the Super Mario Bros. Theme. Jay is laughing like mad and freaking out on me. Dude, they're right there. What are you doing? We are going to lose. Then the best interaction I've ever had with random players online ensued. They start crouch dancing and spinning around and shooting into the air just as well. This sends Jay over the top in a fit of laughter. He's sitting there busting up so hard he's practically wheezing, all the while still freaking out over the mix about how they're right next to me. I give it a few more seconds of silliness, because come on, it was hilarious. Then I immediately switch gears and pop both of the other guys. I get the first one easy as he's just inches away from me standing out in the open. He goes down, and his partner is caught off guard and ducks behind a nearby car. Unfortunately for him, I was able to adjust myself near perfectly and dive behind the car after him so soon after popping his partner that he wasn't able to react in time. Jay losing his freaking mind as we win the match and boot back to the menu, completely unable to hold his laughter after witnessing what had just happened. I don't talk with Jay much anymore, mostly due to no longer paying for Sparks Live, but man, I miss those days. Made a lot of good friends over those games I played on my 360. It would be great to just go back in time and relive it, all that fun and laughter. Back when I was in college, some kid was trash talking on COD. He was mad because me and my 2 roommates had a system for dominating matches, and he was getting his ads handed to him. So this kid is acting like he's older than us and talking deeply and saying the stereotypical stuff like he will find us in real life and kill us and fuck our moms and so on. All of a sudden we hear his mom come in and use his full name and chew him out about cussing and saying he would fuck our moms. She made him say sorry, and the whole time he is crying and pleading for her not to take this box 360 away. He's ecstatic now and trying to blame us, saying we started it and were being mean. She had none of that, however, and eventually his mic goes dead and his guy was frozen. Guessing she pulled the plug. As far as our system went, it was 3 of us. Me and 1 roommate were pretty good rushers and could get 40+ kills a game easily. But our 3rd roommate, who wasn't as good, would be on recon patrol. Basically he set all his kill streaks and loadout just to help us. So he had UAV, counter spy plane, and some turret. Also he would have a shoulder launched anti-aircraft weapon as his secondary. Me and the other rusher would use the kill streaks, napalm strike, blackbird, and chopper gunner. So imagine a match where your radar is blocked most of the time. Enemy UAV is constant. Napalm strikes every 2 minutes. Almost constant blackbirds. Then to top it off, constant chopper gunners. I have on film a match where I got over 120 kills and my roommate had like 100. Also we were stacking kill streaks because we got them so quickly that we couldn't use them at the same time. He had a chopper gunner left, I think. We didn't use the hind kill streak because it was glitched and would fly circles. Oh, I know I'm late to this, but I was playing a game type called Monster Trucks on Halo 3 on Rat's Nest map. It was 4 teams of 2 on a small little cliff trying to ram each other off the side of the map. Well, anyway, we had 2 randoms in there and my buddy was teamed up with one of them, and I can't recall exactly how we found out, but I believe the random messaged my buddy to stop yelling at him because he was dyslexic. So now I'm in a warthog on one side of the map, and on the other side is chaos of about 6 people still left alive, and I see one green dude having a warthog backed up into him, and I come closer and all I hear through my TV is my friend yelling at the kid standing there, "Get in the goddamn turret, turret, turret." Swear to God I have never laughed so hard in my life. 2 guys who were brothers played with us. The one kid was on more frequently, sometimes both were on. I was on there with 2 or 3 other grown men and these 2 boys. We really had nothing to do, and we are just talking. One of the men asked, "You guys are brothers, right?" The kid who wasn't usually on says, "Yeah, so and so's my brother." Someone made some unrelated comment and someone else said something. I could hear someone huffing and puffing, and I could see it was so and so. I could hear that he didn't like that question. I could hear him shifting in his chair. The guy asks, "How old are you guys anyway?" 32. 28. 47. So and so's brother pipes up, "I'm 11 and he's 13. So and so says, "No, no, no, no. He's not. We're not. Ha ha ha. Don't tell them that. Dad talked to us about this." I was quite sure at the time the guy wasn't being pervy. Now, not so much. Anyway, I assured everyone that this was exactly what the dad was talking about. Conversation eventually recovered. That has to be the weirdest. I'm sorry that it isn't too weird. The clan leader was right. He was a good kid. Not someone else but me. I was in a siege game losing a match point 2v3 against an all recruit squad. The other player alive was a toxic cunt and was trash talking the other team relentlessly over voice chat and in the lobby text chat. We all put up with it because hey, some people are competitive, and it was only directed at the rest of the team when we legit did something stupid. He had team killed the other 3 fusing through random walls. He hot breaches and gets his cheeks clapped by a frost trap. I follow him in and get pinned behind a couch. I get a nitro cell to the face and die. Round lost. This guy is screaming. Finally he stops and asks me to backquote explain that. I take the puff filter off my headset mic and bring it as close to my mouth as possible. I say, I was pinned behind a couch having killed 2 while you were laying there with your shins broken. I'm on a shitty laptop playing this game 5 frames at a time, and despite all that the only thing you accomplished this round was killing the only people who could have supported me. He screamed fuck you and kicked something, probably his desk. Immediately after there's a crash and he disconnects. I think he knocked over his computer and broke it. Everyone was losing their shit. I work to do extremely cheap freelance on art, mainly cartoons. Something that costed virtually nothing but my time to do, depending on the job. I was asked by a guy I had met to help out with a website, and I was invited into a call to discuss the change. He had a thick, heavy accent, which I assumed was Indian, though it was Dutch I later found out. I wasn't too phased, but 10 minutes later, he excused himself and began to speak in Dutch, walking away from his computer, but leaving his microphone on, not sure if he knew. I went back to working on stuff, and my friend who was also in the call was humming, when suddenly she stopped dead, and all of a sudden, from his microphone, we hear some weird noises. It sounded like someone was calling in a high-pitched noise, while saying mama, over and over again. I was weirded out, and opted to leave the call. I stayed in contact for about 2 years with the guy. I don't know why I did, but he was actually pretty cool. We ended up going our separate ways when he finished up the work he was doing and went off to school. I still have no clue what that was about, though. I actually have the funniest story, and I hope this gets seen. So these were no strangers, but it was the funniest turn of events. Me, my older cousin, and my younger cousin were all playing COD the first day it came out, so we were up late. My cousin was like 13 years old at the time, and he had school the next day, so his dad has been telling him to get off and go to bed. So after an hour my uncle tells my younger cousin get off the game idiot. It's 1 AM. Then my older cousin decides to mock my uncle and get on my younger cousin's nerves and say yay get off idiot. So this all happens in a matter of a few seconds and my younger cousin, speaking to my older cousin, says you're the idiot. Then in the background you hear my uncle say what? Younger cousin has been signed off from PS Network me, and my older cousin burst out laughing so hard. One of the funniest times I've had playing games. Not funniest, but biggest moment. Background info first. Vanilla WoW. Big guild, not very successful raiders, but a fun environment with families and such. Priest class leader just had a baby. Her husband was the paladin class leader and needed a vacation. Husband agreed, and she booked a weekend jet away to a spa. I was a new recruit, new to MMOs, and new to raiding and all that stuff. I was a rogue, and we had Act 20 and ZG runs on the weekends for alts and to gear up the new players. We are running ZG over Vent. Our warrior class leaders with us, and we are having fun, and then we hear the priest over Vent. In the background of the warrior class lead, not her husband. She said something like come back to bed, guy's name. Someone says is that priest. Everyone just goes silent. Class warrior lead Hearthstone's back to Ironforge, empties guild bank, quits all his tunes. Her husband logs on a few hours later, tells us he is changing the locks, contacted his lawyer, and isn't playing WoW anymore. Guild broke up a few weeks later. Back in my SWTOR days I was about to raid with some randoms, and about 10 minutes in, before we even started, this gem unfolded, more or less word for word. Guy 1, so where ya from? Friendly not creepy. Guy 2, UK. Guy 1, cool man, like fish and chips and stuff. Guy 2, silence. Guy 1, up man. Guy 3, don't call her a man. Joined party together with Guy 2. Guy 1, what? Guy 3, don't call. Guy 2, a man. She identifies as a woman. Guy 1, okay. Sorry. Just sounded like a dude. Guy 3, well she identifies as a woman. Guy 4, I'm not calling him a her. He's a man. Like he's not even trying to sound like a chick. I'm not gonna make the effort to call him a woman if he's not gonna make the effort to sound like one. Not one fact given. For some reason we all started laughing, and both Guy 2 and Guy 3 quit the party without notice. Red Dead Redemption on 360. Just messing around in a friendly free roam and suddenly this like 5-year-old boy just starts talking. Not to anyone in particular, just babbling on. After a minute of incoherent nonsense finally a bro in his 20s shouts shut the fuck up as a fair response. Kid starts talking to the guy asking if he wants to join a posse etc. But the jabroni continues to scold him. I'm the perfect amount of high and bored so I decided to put on my headset and find the kid. I arrive after a minute or two and immediately begin griefing his horse and harassing him with fire bottles and dynamite. He had not the skill or gear to oppose a high-ranking neckbird like me. So begins our dialogue. He squeals during the torture, but after a few minutes my ammo is spent, and I'm beginning to become bored. I have not said a word yet until he notices my character and begins bombarding me with questions. Starts asking how I got those golden guns, how'd I get that fancy horse etc. He is particularly impressed by the explosive rifle, so I decided to troll him, cause, you know, neckbird. I begin making up ridiculous fake feats to unlock them, and the kid is straight up amazed. He asks me to share my guns with him, and I say okay, I'll give you my horse, but first you have to do something for me. His mom has been in the background randomly this entire time, so I ask him what her name is. He doesn't know, so I tell him to ask her. Okay as he takes off the headset and eagerly runs over to her. You can hear the exchange faintly. Mom, what's your name? She pauses for a second then replies Sarah, or whatever. I hear him run back to the TV and put his gear on. Her name is Sarah. At this point I'm grinning and notice a sea of headphones beginning to appear in the lobby. Now he wants the rifle. I tell him it's super hard to get and it's my last one, but I'm willing to give him my Mauser pistol for another favor. He's hooked and agrees. Okay. How old is your mom? He doesn't know and runs off again. Mom, how old are you? She seems displeased and tells him he doesn't need to know. Please. She caves and admits to being 28. He runs back to the TV. She's 28. Excellent. I take out my Mauser and cause an NPC to kill me. He picks up the pistol and loves it. He wastes all of the ammo quickly then reverts his attention back to the explosive rifle. Okay. Ask her what her bra size is. He doesn't know what I'm saying, so I enunciate bra and coach the question to him again. At this point the brothers in the lobby are starting to get rowdy, but the original guy that told the kid to STFU is hushing them. They oblige. Mom, what's your bra size? Oh fuck no. She shouts what? Who is asking you this stuff? My friend Zons barks, followed immediately by quick heavy steps towards the TV. Hello. Hi, Sarah. He's only 5 years old, guys. That's really messed up. He's only 5. Did you know this game is rated mature and 18 plus? Are you calling me a bad mom? Not at all. I just wanted to make sure you knew what little Billy was playing. He's lucky to have someone like you to look out for him. Okay, thanks. I hear her set the headset down, and after a second of silence she says, that's it. You're not allowed to play daddy's games anymore. Kid begins to REE as his gamer tag exits the lobby. Q friend invites, and a reception on par with the ending of A New Hope. So I went to a buddy's house, and he's playing Fortnite. One of the other players was a group of kids with the mic constantly on. All of a sudden we hear a shout and laughter in the background of a mic. What are you guys doing? Unintelligible mostly, in the candle. I'm not putting my dick in the candle. Don't be a bussy. Even Nick did it. I don't care, I'm playing right now. Background dick dipping club. Dick dipping club. DDC. Chance of DDC. Shut up, my grandma is going to hear you. Dip your dick. Dip your dick. Dip the dick. Fine, just shut up. Lots of laughter. Wow. It's like a wax cast. When the Xbox One first came out it came with the Kinect, or however it was spelled, and it had a webcam-like microphone attached to the Kinect. I was playing co-op Halo Wars online with someone who also didn't have a headset. The only way we could communicate was with my Kinect mic, but he/she couldn't respond. We play for a while and I pretty much stopped talking, because I don't like how much it feels like I'm talking with no one ever responding. So the wife comes into the room about an hour into the online play and starts reading on the bed behind me. I told her, when I first got on, that the mic was on, but this was an hour ago, and she had come and gone a few times, and I had stopped talking to my random co-op pal. So she forgets, and about 10 minutes after starting to read she rips a good loud fatched and starts laughing. She was clearly trying to make it loud. I just start shaking my head and laughing even louder because she doesn't realize. She notices I'm laughing a little too much. So I point out that the mic is still on and some random person just heard her rip that huge fatched. What's even better is my Xbox bud gets to hear her freak out and start asking me if I think they heard it. They clearly did, because when that level finally ended and we called it quits, a message popped up that just said, "GG, had fun. FYI, I heard the fatched. TLDR, wife didn't remember Kinect had a mic and fatched it as loud as possible to be funny. Then got a message from the random I was playing with informing me they had heard the fatched." Here I am, sitting around looking at my map on Red Dead Online. I wasn't looking in my area, so I didn't see someone right up in front of me, and then I hear the classic western theme, and this is the conversation go down. Him, tumbleweed, tomorrow, noon me, this town ain't big enough for the two of us. Him, you're right, we should get a third me, yeah definitely that's a good idea. Then he rides off. I ride into Tumbleweed to sell some stuff, after deciding to upgrade my weapon or something, I don't remember. I hear the music again, and hear him go, "This town ain't big enough for the two of us." I hear a gunshot go off, and the other guy he was doing it to just go, "You're right," and leave. The most memorable encounters in Dota I've had were playing with people from other cultures and bigots. The first was the god tier Mirana, who opened the game by playing the Russian national anthem over voice chat. The whole goddamn thing, and somehow it worked. He was super positive, and we all decidedly sided with his patriotic presentation for literally no reason. We just knew this man, whose icon was the USSR flag playing the old anthem, meant well, and I'll be damned if he didn't play like Ice Frog himself was on his side. He proceeded to land arrows like he could predict the future. This was decidedly impressive and actually one of my most beloved memories of the multicultural queue experience I ever had, but it isn't the most memorable. That title belongs to a unique individual I refer back to as the Bigot Bard. The Bigot Bard stood out because he was determined to offend everyone. He managed to work a racial slur into every other word as a syllable, but still communicated useful information while doing it. Even when drawing on the map, it was real info that often led to a kill or avoiding a gank, but without fail, and before it could lose shape it would become a dick. This extraordinary feat was accomplished while maintaining a rhythmic cadence to the presentation. He was actually singing bigotry through open mic while leading the team as a position for Mirana. Although he was more foul-mouthed than literally anything I'd ever encountered before or since, his extraordinarily gifted weaving of pejorative terms as homonyms to actual words was a thing of comedic genius. My teammates flamed him and groaned an ire, but none could actually bring themselves to mute him. The information was literally too useful, and we rolled lost without his chauvinistic chants. At the end of the game, while the other players proclaimed their intention to report the man, I found myself more impressed than offended. I'd been serenaded by sheet talk for almost an hour, and at the end of it, rather than be offended, I was just laughing at the sheer ridiculousness of it all. I don't know what became of the Bigot Bard. I didn't try to add him, nor did I ever encounter him in the queue again. But that one game has left a cherished memory in my heart of the time that Dota made me realize I just don't care about the things people say when their meaning isn't malicious. Joined a gaming clan for a specific game a few years ago. Found out a few of them were playing 7 Days to Die and decided to join in with them. Also, I had strep throat and couldn't really do much talking, but I was in the TS just in case I needed to say something I couldn't communicate by typing. They apparently had a pretty established underground base going, with each person having their own room with a locked door. One of the guys had gotten into another guy's room and gotten locked inside. The guy whose room it was logging off and didn't want to restart the game and basically was telling the stuck guy good luck, so the stuck guy a few minutes later starts mining his way out of the room and then and out of it again. Guy gets back on after hearing some of the chatter on TS. Just as he was about to turn off his computer, logs back into his now rather holly room and basically goes absolutely verbal ballistics on the guy he had trapped. I literally can't quote it, but there were multiple STD references, your mother and father references, poor personal habits references, swearing, and more thrown into a 10-minute epic rant that had me laughing, coughing/wheezing, and coughing blood from the strep. Just the pure angry tone and conviction of his delivery of those insults was beautiful. One of the funniest 10 minutes of my life. And yes, they are, and remain good gaming friends years later. I was doing a Destiny raid with a friend and some randos. Throughout the raid, whenever we messed up, one of the players, like 14 from his voice, would freak out. He'd apologize profusely for messing up, even if it was somebody else. He yelled and swore and lost it, only to regain his composure pretty soon. It was strange and annoying, but not extraordinarily so. Except we were playing at 2 AM. So after 2 hours of this guy's constantly yelling and swearing, all of a sudden we heard a deeper, angrier voice in his mic. It was his dad, furious that his son was screaming. "Your sister is trying to sleep. Turn it off. We are so close. Let me just play a little more. I will not have you yelling at all hours of the night. Turn it off now. I'll be quiet, I promise. I need to finish this. I will not be disrespected in my own home." This goes on for about 2 minutes, during which time everybody else is dead silent. We could hear both sides of this tense conversation perfectly. I'm an adult and had completely forgotten what this kind of conversation is like. Eventually the son somehow wins the argument and keeps playing. After 30 seconds of total silence, some of the other guys in the game start chuckling. The son responds very coldly, "Yeah, keep laughing and I'll faking drop." So we all pretended that never happened, and I went on to have my first last wish completion. Was in a guild with a great mix of men and women and couples. Have to do a little setup first. We are in TeamSpeak. So one of the guys was a really good raider and very smart point, and came from a very well-off family point, spoke like 4 languages, one being ancient Greek. He is a scholar and historian, I believe. Anyway, when he gets drunk he gets stupid, and has been nearly kicked from the guild due to the stupid stuff he does. Point, he was known to piss the women off just being dumb. Understand the women in this guild didn't put up with it. We would tell him to shut it. Our guild leader was / is a fantastic guy. Point, just a really good person and fun to be around. So everyone has each other's numbers and texts each other and stuff. So one night a bunch of us are in TeamSpeak. D is for drunk guy. GL is for guild leader. We are all joking and having fun, just a good mix of people that night. As the night goes on, D is getting more and more drunk. Point, the GL has never been on to hear this kind of stupid before. Somehow GL lets slip his name, no big deal, because it wasn't a secret. D looks him up on Facebook and just wow. For the next 3 hours our GL is getting hit on and all kinds of sexual funny comments are made his way by D. D just didn't let up. This in turn got all the women in TeamSpeak to listen and mock the two of them. After about 3.5 hours of the roasting/harassing and teasing, D passes out. The guild leader then comments to us women, "I'm sorry, I now know firsthand what you women deal with in game and in bars." Point, this is a life-changing thing for me. We women just laughed and teased him more. Point, the GL was a good sport throughout. Point, but it really opened his eyes on what women go through sometimes. It got raunchy and crude and was very funny. You might have had to been there that night. D had a hangover the next day and no memory of what he said. Most of the time, when I overhear things, it's just some kid talking to their mom saying they'll be down for dinner soon. Boring stuff. Except once I heard a guy getting arrested while he left his mic on in Search and Destroy on Black Ops. I couldn't really hear what the officers were saying, but I could hear their voices in the background. The dude was still wearing his mic though. It started off with, "Excuse me for fucking wanting to have a cigarette in my own fucking house." He was English, don't know how to describe his accent, maybe like a trashy Gordon Ramsay, which then developed to no, you can't just walk in here, into my fucking house, and tell me I can't have a cigarette. I had no clue what was going on until I heard him yell, "Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest?" This whole time there's some inaudible mumbling going on in the background. Some silence, then alright, so I'm under arrest? Sadly he left the game after that, but it was the funniest shit to me. The rest of our team wasn't even playing, we were just cracking up listening to this dude get arrested on XBL. Was playing League with a mate. While we are in the first 15 minutes of a ranked match, the fire alarm in his building goes off. This happened regularly, and it almost always shut off after about 5 minutes, so he usually didn't bother to leave. However, this time it was his room's alarm that triggered, because the kitchen on his floor was one window over, and some people were trying make coal or something from their food. About 5 minutes after the alarm started we hear a loud crack, some shouting, then silent, except for the alarm. Turns out, the fireman went up to his room to look for the fire, knocked and shouted at his locked door, then kicked it in and promptly hauled his ass out. They also refused to turn off the alarm before he went outside to the designated area. They were more friendly when the reason the alarm went off became clear, but we were still laughing in Discord when he came back 3 to 4 minutes later. Playing Rec Room, a VR chat type of thing with sports. We are playing through a quest. This one is us dungeon crawling through a futuristic space station against a plethora of AI robots. We are armed with laser pistols / rifles / shotties / snipers. Important note, throwing the pistols, having them flip, and catching them reloads them. It makes duel is great. The guy's using dual pistols and crouching behind cover. He reloads the fancy way, flipping them simultaneously, and the left one goes wide. Mind you, we are in the thick of it, and there's a crap storm of lasers flying both ways. Leaving cover would mean a pretty quick down, and leave him stranded until after the firefight finished. He shoots his arm out to grab it, and not have to chase it out of cover, and freezes about 3/4 of the way, and proceeds to let loose a howl at the top of his lungs door, and collapsed cradling his hand. Me and the other 2 guys in the squad just lost it, and the suicide bots got us all. Turns out someone had dipped into the room he was in to grab something, and left the door open without his knowledge. He apparently full force punched the latch, and had bloodied the ever-living hell out of his knuckles. Never ran into the poor soul more than that time, so I didn't get to find out if he was alright.